Hello and welcome back. It's Wednesday, May 1st, and I've got approximately 40 days left until my marathon on June 9th. Except I'm sitting at home with frozen edamame in my lap because I just had hernia surgery yesterday. Other than it feels like I did 400 sit-ups, I'd say that the recovery is going pretty well. And I think I'll be running pretty soon, but let's just assume I'm going to lose another week of training before everything is back up to speed. So if you factor in the taper, a short taper, I've got 4 good weeks of training before my marathon. I'm not worried. I've let go of a time goal. It doesn't matter. I just need to finish. I'm going to run a marathon and it's going to be a great experience. But first, let's recap. How did I get here? Let's rewind to January 1st, 2023 when I finally committed to starting a YouTube channel and start running marathons again. I'm not a stranger to marathon running and I've run about a dozen of them, but in reality, I haven't run a marathon in 7 years. So I resolved to run another marathon with the audacious goal of breaking 3:30 and qualifying for Boston and calling it the Sub 3:30 Marathon Project. And of course, none of those things ever happened. Immediately after making that decision, I received some difficult news. My mother was going into hospice and was nearing her end of life, and our 18-year-old son informed us that he wasn't planning on finishing high school on the same day. While my mother lasted longer than expected and my son did indeed get his academic act together, the next 6 months were an emotional roller coaster. I was juggling end-of-life care for my mother and emerging life care for my son, and nothing in life prepares you for the mixture of aging parents and adolescence. Welcome to middle age. During this time, running was my salvation and brought me focus and clarity and calm. But running and recording or running and vlogging were a different matter. I found that I could either run or record or edit, but I could never do all of the 3 things in one day. Just picking up a camera and running with a selfie stick was exhausting, and I managed some half-hearted footage of me huffing and puffing and out of breath and struggling to speak. Talking to the camera was really difficult, and I always felt flustered and awkward and exhausted. While my fitness was improving, I never managed to finish anything good enough to upload to YouTube, but I just kept plugging away and attempting to write or shoot or edit on any given day. By mid-June, everything seemed to be falling into place. I was able to fly home and spend the final days with my mother before she passed, and then I had 8 days to deal with everything else. Emptying the house, handling the funeral arrangements, being the executor of the will, and so on, before flying back to Seattle on June 24th, just in time for my son's high school graduation. I thought I was finally ready to launch my brilliant YouTube channel, but the entire summer of 2023 was occupied with managing my mother's estate, putting her home up for sale, and providing additional support for my son, who's doing great, by the way. I uploaded some short videos, I shot some B-roll, and I learned the basics. But on August 15th, exactly 2 months after my mother passed away, my wife was diagnosed with cancer, and suddenly running a marathon and qualifying for Boston and starting a YouTube channel became a low priority. I kept running, but not at the same intensity. I did a lot of stress eating and I let my fitness lag. Fortunately, my wife was super organized and she was quickly scheduled for surgery on October 15th and was soon cancer-free. Unfortunately, there were still a lot of appointments and procedures and tests, and in December she began a course of chemotherapy to reduce the risk of cancer recurring. Chemo was an exhausting ordeal for my wife, and keeping everything for the household on track was a huge responsibility for me. But somehow I managed to really get this YouTube channel up and running on January 1st, 2024. If you've seen any of my videos from the last 4 months, I'll let you know that they were produced during the most difficult period of my life. The good news is that my wife is feeling better, we're not very worried, and we're enjoying this time right here, right now. And I'm really grateful that everything is going so well. Oh yeah, except for the hernia surgery and this frozen edamame in my lap. Well, that's really a minor inconvenience compared to the events of the last 16 months. If I've learned anything from this experience, it's that if you want to make something happen, you just need to keep showing up. How am I going to pull off this marathon in 40 days? I have no idea, but I do know that if you want to run a marathon, and really if you want to do anything worth doing, you're going to need consistency, routine, and dedication. And you're going to need to make every day count. Thank you so much for watching until the end of the video. Just so you know, when you like or comment, it really motivates me. And if you want to see how this story turns out, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.